from Hollywood, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight, we present you with the timeless classic, Little Women. This is the story of the March Sisters, 4 girls whose lives and ambitions are completely different, but who are bound together by the bond of family ties.
We were 4 sisters, Meg, Beth, Amy, and I, and our mother, whom we lovingly referred to as Marmee. I shall start our story during that winter of 1864 when Papa was still away at war. What a miserable Christmas we all thought at the time. How happy a Christmas it really was.
Oh, it's dreadful to be poor.
Well, at least we have a Christmas tree, Meg, and I think it's beautiful.
Oh, Christmas won't be Christmas, Beth. Not without presents.
We're better off than a lot of people, Amy. Orphans, for instance. We have Father and Marmee and each other.
But we haven't got Father and probably won't have him for a long time.
You know the reason Mother proposed not having any presents this Christmas was because it's going to be a hard winter for everyone. We ought not to spend money for pleasure when our men are suffering in the army. We can't do much, but we ought to make our little sacrifices gladly, but still, it would be nice not to have to make do with the same old dresses.
We've each got $1, and the army wouldn't be much helped by our giving that. I've been dying to get a new book.
And I plan to spend mine on new music.
I shall get a nice box of drawing pencils. I really need them.
Mother didn't say anything about our money. Let's each buy what we want and have a little fun. I'm sure we work hard enough to earn it.
I know I do, teaching those tiresome children all day.
Oh, you don't have half as much of a hard time as I do. How would you like to be shut up for hours with Aunt March? She's never satisfied and worries you till you're ready to fly out the window or cry.
I don't believe any of you suffers. I do. You don't have to go to school with impertinent girls who laugh at your dresses and label your father just because he isn't rich and insult you when your nose isn't nice.
Amy, if you mean libel, then say so, and stop talking about labels as if Papa was a pickle bottle.
You needn't be so satirical about it, Joe. It's proper to use good words and improve one's vocabulary.
Vocabulary. Christopher Columbus.
Joe, don't use slang words.
Oh, I just detest rude, unladylike girls.
And I hate affected, piminy-niminy snips.
Birds in their little nests agree.
I will never get over my disappointment at not being a boy. Look at me, dying, simply dying to go out there and fight at Father's side. And here I am, sitting and knitting like a poky old woman.
Poor Joe.
Thank you, Miss Beth. But I don't need any pity. Because someday I'll be a famous writer and make my fortune. Oh, not that I'll forget about my sisters. You'll all ride round in fine carriages. You, Beth, you'll have a new piano. And you, Meg, you'll have 10 dozen dresses and satin slippers and red-headed boys to dance with.
I shall like that, I thank you. Oh, it's almost time for Marmee to come home.
Oh, I'll warm her slippers. They really are quite worn out. Marmee must have a new pair.
I thought I'd get her some with my $1.
Well, I'm the old...
I'm the man of the family now that Papa is away, and I shall provide the slippers.
I'll tell you what we'll do. Let's each get her something for Christmas and not get anything for ourselves.
I shall get her a nice new pair of gloves.
Army shoes, the best to be had.
Some handkerchiefs, all hemmed.
I'll get a little bottle of cologne. She likes it, and I'll still have enough for my pencils.
Let Marmee think we are getting things for ourselves, and then surprise her. Later that evening, after our plans had been carried out, we sat around the fire and listened to Marmee read us a letter from our dear father.
And give them all my dear love and a kiss. Tell them I think of them by day, pray for them by night, and find my best comfort in their affection at all times. I know they will remember to be loving children to you, will work diligently so that these hard times need not be wasted, and that when I return I may be fonder and prouder than ever of my little women. How long this sad war will last, I do not...
Mrs. March, ma'am.
Yes, Hannah?
A message from poor Mrs. Hummel, ma'am. She wants to know how soon you can come.
Oh, right away. Amy, dear, get me my shoes, and Joe, my wraps. Now, Good night, my children. Don't wait up for me. I may be late.
Christmas! Fine Christmas Eve. Papa far away and Marmee out taking care of sick people.
Quick, let's put the presents out for her while she's away.
It was long past midnight when Marmee returned. We were huddled at the top of the stairs. We couldn't see her as she stopped by the Christmas tree, but we knew that she had found our presents.
But why is she crying? I can hear Marmee and she's crying.
Doesn't she like our presents?
Come on now, back to bed before she sees us.
But why is she crying?
Because she loves us, little Beth. And love and tears live very close together. Come on now.
Christopher Columbus! What a breakfast! Look, kidney pie and sausage!
Popovers and coffee!
And everything! Oh, Merry Christmas, girls!
Merry Christmas, Hannah!
Oh, I can remember when I served a breakfast like this every day.
Well, we must have been enormously rich. Well, kindly pass the popovers,
Now,
Meg.
wait for Marmee, Amy.
Oh, your mum's took breakfast and gone. She said she'll meet you all in church.
Gone?
Back to the Hummels. The baby finally came early this morning.
Another baby.
One after another. 6 children. Half frozen, huddled in one bed, she said. Your mum took her breakfast to them.
I'm not hungry either.
Oh, Beth.
I'm not hungry.
People are starving everywhere every day. If you're going to let that worry you, then you'll never eat at all.
I try not to think about it.
Those people are far away, Meg, and we don't know them. But the Hummels are near, and we do know them.
You're not thinking of giving our breakfast to the Hummels?
Oh, yes, we are, aren't we, Joe?
Oh, no, you couldn't think of a thing like that. No.
Poor, hungry Amy. A few moments later, as we passed by the Lawrence mansion loaded with our food for the Hummels, we saw them for the first time. 2 young men outside of Mr. Lawrence's estate.
Aren't you rather loaded down, Miss March? May I help you?
No, thank you, sir.
Josephine,
Just a minute! And I'm not Miss March, I'm only Joe.
Well, then I am not Theodore Lawrence. You can call me Laurie. And this is my tutor, John Brooke.
How do you do?
How do you do?
I'd like you to meet my sisters, only, well, I guess they're too far up the road.
Oh, what a pity.
Well, goodbye.
Really, Joe, I must say, really.
Fiddlesticks.
What will they think? Stopping to talk when we hadn't even met them properly.
Well, you weren't very friendly. You didn't even say, how do you do?
Who were those 2 gentlemen?
Theodore Lawrence, but we are to call him Laurie, and Mr. Brooke.
Mr. Brooke?
Yes, and Laurie.
Mr. Brooke.
Goodbye! That was a big morning in our lives, surrendering our breakfast to the Hummel children and meeting young Mr. Lawrence and Mr. Brooke. The next afternoon, we received an invitation from Mrs. Gardner.
Such fun! Only see, Mrs. Gardner would be happy to see Miss March and Miss Josephine at a little party on New Year's Eve. Marmee is willing we should go. Now what shall we wear?
What's the use of asking when you know we shall wear our poplins because we haven't got anything else? Yours is as good as new, but whatever shall I do? I always stand too close to the hearth and the burn is quite bad in the back.
You must sit all you can and keep your back out of sight. The front is all right. I'm going to the Gardners to accept with thanks and work on my lace.
On New Year's Eve, the parlor was deserted, for the 2 younger girls played dressing maids, and the 2 older were absorbed in the all-important business of getting ready for the party. Meg wanted a few curls about her face, and I undertook the papered locks with a pair of hot tongs.
Ought they to smoke like that?
It's the dampness drying.
Now, Joe, you mustn't attend without 2 white gloves, and since you're so clumsy with yours, and Marmee said she wouldn't buy you any more until summer, You may borrow one of mine, but please do be careful with them.
What a strange smell. It's like burned feathers.
There now. I'll take off the papers and you'll see a cloud of ringlets.
Oh,
Meg, your hair! What have you done?
Oh,
I spoiled my hair! Just my luck, you shouldn't have asked me to do it. I always spoil everything. I'm so sorry. The tongs were too hot and now I've made a mess of it.
It isn't spoiled. Just bristle it and tie your hair in ribbons so the ends come on your forehead. It'll look just the fashion.
Serves me right for trying to be fine. I wish I'd let my hair alone.
After various lesser mishaps, Meg and I were ready for our outing. Meg's high-heeled slippers were very tight and hurt her feet, though she would not own it, and my 19 hairpins seemed to stick straight into my head, which was not exactly comfortable. But, my dears, let us be elegant or die.
Now, don't forget to keep the back of your skirt out of sight,
I
Jen.
remember.
Is my sash right? Does my hair look very bald? Oh, I'll lift my eyebrows if anything is wrong. Not if you're all
watch you
right.
very
Now,
closely,
hold your
yes.
shoulders straight and take short steps, and don't shake hands if you're introduced to dear
How do you learn all the proper ways? I never can.
Joe, where are you going?
To find a place where I can enjoy myself in peace.
Oh!
Oh, dear me! I didn't know anyone was here. I'm sorry. I'll go.
Don't mind me. Stay if you like.
Oh, shan't I disturb you?
Not a bit. I only came here because, well, I don't know many people, and I felt rather strange at first, you know. Do you like parties?
I like it well enough if there's plenty of room. In a place like this, I'm sure to upset something, tread on people's toes, or do something dreadful. So I keep out of mischief and let Meg sail about.
Well, there's room enough in here. Would you dance with me?
I can't, for I told Meg I wouldn't because...
Because what?
You won't tell?
Well, never.
I have a bad trick of standing before the fire, and so I burned my frock, so I scorched this one, and though it's nicely mended, it shows, and Meg told me to keep still so no one would see it. Oh, you may laugh if you want to, it's funny, I know.
I would never laugh at you. Never mind your dress, please come.
Oh, I'd be happy to.
Joe!
Oh!
I've sprained my ankle! That stupid high heel turned on me. It aches so I can hardly stand, and I don't know how I'm ever going to get home.
I knew you would hurt your feet with those silly shoes. I'm sorry, but I don't know what you can do except get a carriage or stay here all night.
I can't have a carriage without it costing ever so much. I dare say I can't get one at all, for most people come in their own, and it's a long way off to the stable.
Well, I'll go.
No, indeed. It's past 9 and dark as Egypt out there. I can't stay here, for the house is full. I'll rest till Hannah comes and do the best I
Well,
can.
perhaps I can be of assistance.
Oh, you can't mean to go yet. It's so early.
I always go early. I do, truly. Please let me take you home. It's on the way, you
Really,
know.
Mr. Lawrence,
It's
I couldn't...
settled. I'll let Mr. Brooke know that we are leaving right away.
So it was that Laurie and Mr. Brooke accompanied us to our home. Laurie and I had a good laugh about everything, and Mr. Brooke was quite the gentleman, escorting Meg to the door. With many thanks, we said good night and parted in good spirits. A few days later, I was out shoveling snow when Laurie called to me from his window.
Hello!
Hello! Why don't you hustle yourself out here and help me?
I can't, I have the quinsy.
Oh, what a shame.
Oh, well, it isn't contagious. I can have visitors, but I don't know anyone, though.
Well, you know me.
Well, would you care to come over and keep me company?
I'll speak to Mother. You may expect me, though.
Thank you.
Well, here I am, and I brought you some blamage. It's soft and will slide down easily. Quinsy, huh? Got some flannel around your throat?
Oh, yes. Yes, you see. And thanks for the blamage.
I've come to entertain you. I'll read aloud, and you can listen. I do love to read aloud.
Well, I'd rather just talk if you don't mind. Well, won't you sit by the fire?
Oh, thank you. I love to talk, too. I always talk... Christopher Columbus!
What's the matter?
This room! What richness! What a glorious library! Oh, I call this splendor. That's what I call it, splendor. You should be the happiest creature alive.
Well, it's just a room to me, and it certainly doesn't make me happy. Would you care for some tea? How many lumps?
1, 3. Now, do tell me all about yourself.
Well, I used to live in Europe with my parents before they died.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I'm going to Europe too, you know.
Oh, really? When?
Oh, well, I don't know exactly. You see, my Aunt March, I decided to work for her as a companion. Oh, what a nervous, fidgety soul she is, too. Well, anyway, my Aunt March has rheumatism, and the doctor thought the bath. Oh, not that she hasn't got a bath. She has a very nice bath. Did you have any baths while you were there, Mr. Lawrence? I mean, for your, rheumatism?
I haven't got rheumatism.
Oh, well, neither have I. But you see, I figured that the baths wouldn't do me any harm. That is to say, while I was there, because I've always wanted to go to Europe. Oh, not for the baths, of course, not at all for my writing. It's so good for writers. You see, Aunt March... Oh, but you don't know Aunt March. Oh, what were you going to say, Laurie?
Well, it was so long ago. I forgot.
Well, tell me how you're getting along with your grandfather.
Oh, fine. Once I got used to him. Isn't he a holy terror?
You should see my Aunt March.
Well, this blamage looks just too good to eat.
Oh, it isn't. Meg made it.
Oh, well, it really is dull as tunes in here.
Is that why you stand at your window staring at us?
Well, you see, I can often hear you calling to one another, and when I'm alone up here, I can't help but looking over at your house. You always seem to be having such good times. I beg your pardon for being so rude, but sometimes when the lamps are lighted, it's like looking at a picture. All of you gathered around the fire with your mother. I can't help but watching it. I haven't got a mother, you know.
Well then, why don't you come over? Yes, then you'd be a part of the picture, and Marmee is so splendid. She'd do you heaps of good, and Beth would sing for you, and Amy would dance, and Meg and I would make you laugh over our funny stage productions, and we'd have jolly times.
Well, my grandfather mightn't approve. He'd say I was imposing, but in spite of that...
Oh, Bilge, I know his face frightens half of Concord, but it doesn't frighten me. He isn't as handsome as my grandfather, but he looks as though he has a tremendous will. He has kind eyes, though his mouth is grim. Of course, every time I've ever seen him, he's been barking at something. Nevertheless, I rather like him.
Well, that's something, isn't it?
Oh, Mr. Lawrence!
Young man, the nurse is waiting for you upstairs.
Yes, sir.
Now, my face frightens half of Concord, does it?
Yes, sir, frankly it does. You understand, I don't think you mean to frighten them, but your face is... Well, you asked me, sir, and yes, I do think so.
And I bark, do I?
Well, I've heard you bark, yes, sir. Perhaps you don't bark all the time, but you do bark, yes, sir.
And you don't think I'm as handsome as your grandfather?
Not quite, sir.
And I've got a tremendous will, have I?
Well, I only said that I thought so.
And with all that, you like me in spite of it, do you?
Yes, I do. I really do, in spite of everything.
And I like you. Have a cup of tea.
Oh, well, thank you. I had one. I was just going.
No, not so fast, young lady. You've got your grandfather's spirit if you haven't his face. He was a fine man, my dear, but what is better, he was a brave and honest one. And I was proud to be his friend.
Thank you, sir.
I shall come and see your mother some fine day. Will you tell her so?
Yes, sir.
All right. Off with you then.
Yes, sir. Oh, will you give my best to Laurie, sir?
If you haven't already, I will. Good day, Miss Jo.
Good day, sir. From that day forward, the March girls were as welcome at the Lawrences as we were in our own home. Over the next several months, Meg, Amy, and I were often found at the Lawrences, reading, playing, or exploring. But timid Beth, though yearning for the grand piano, could not pluck up the courage to go. No persuasions or enticements could overcome her fears, till the fact came to Mr. Lawrence's ear, in some mysterious way, and he set about mending matters. During one of his brief calls, he artfully led the conversation to music.
The boy neglects his music now, and I'm glad of it, for he was getting too fond of it. But the piano suffers from want of use. Wouldn't one of your girls like to run over and practice on it now and then just to keep it in tune?
Well, I suppose they wouldn't disturb anyone?
No, they needn't speak to anyone, but run in at any time, for I'm shut up in my study at the other end of the house. Laurie is out a great deal, and the servants are never in the drawing room after 9 o'clock.
I shall let my girls know.
Thank you. And if they don't care to come, why then, never mind.
Oh, sir, but they do care very much.
Are you the musical girl?
I'm Beth. I love music dearly, and I'll come if you're quite sure that no one will hear me and be disturbed.
Not a soul, my dear. The house is empty half the day, so come and drum away as much as you like, and I shall be obliged to you.
How kind you are, sir.
I had a little girl once, with eyes like yours. God bless you, my dear. Good day, madam.
Good day,
day,
Mr.
sir.
Lawrence.
Mother, I'm going to work Mr. Lawrence a pair of slippers. He's so kind to me, and I must thank him. But I don't know any other way.
It's a fine idea, Beth, and I'm sure it will please him very much, and it'll be a very nice way of thanking him.
Beth, oh, come and see.
Oh, I was just walking my dolls. What is it?
It's a letter from the old
Come
gentleman.
quick and read it.
Oh, Beth, he sent you. Oh,
Come in here. It's right in here.
see.
Oh, the piano. He gave it to me, Joe, Mr. Lawrence.
But his note, darling, we haven't even opened the note he sent. Will you read it for us, Beth?
Oh, I can't. Will you read it, Joe?
Miss Elizabeth March. Dear Madam.
Ooh, how elegant.
I have had many pairs of slippers in my life, but never any that suited me so well as yours. I like to pay my debts, so I know you will allow the old gentleman to send you something which once belonged to the little granddaughter he lost.
Aww.
I remain your grateful friend and humble servant, James Lawrence.
Aren't you going to play the piano, dear?
Not now. I have to go and thank him.
Look at her, Marmee. Our scared little rabbit going all by herself.
Come in.
Good afternoon.
Well, can't you come any closer?
Yes, sir. I came to thank you, sir.
Yes?
But sweet Beth couldn't finish, for Mr. Lawrence looked so kind, and, remembering that he had lost the little girl he loved, she put both arms around his neck and kissed him on the cheek.
Oh, my sweet little dear.
Of all the beloved pastimes of the March girls, reenacting the stories I created was perhaps our favorite. There were often difficulties in casting, considering that there were only 4 of us, and there were several characters, including men. Still, as with every endeavor in our lives, we applied ourselves with as much vigor and vim as we could muster.
Oh, I don't see how you could write and act such splendid things, Joe. You're a regular Shakespeare. Oh, tell me what happens next after the Duke renounces his fortune and saves Lady Zara.
I don't know. It's all murder.
Oh, the damsels in distress. I love your damsels in distress.
Truly, I don't know if I could ever be good like Marmee. I rather crave violence. If only I could be like father and go to war and fight injustice.
So Marmee does, in her own way.
Yes, but I want to do something different. I don't know what. I'm on the watch.
You'll find it, Joe.
I don't mean to act any more after this time. I'm getting too old for such things.
Oh, fiddlesticks. You won't stop, I know, as long as you can trail round in a white gown with your hair down and wear gold paper jewelry. Besides, you're the best actress we've got, and there'll be an end in everything if you quit. Now, come here, Amy, and do the fainting scene. You're as stiff as a poker in that.
I can't help it. I've never seen anyone faint. I don't choose to make myself all black and blue, tumbling flat as you do. I'd much rather fall into a chair and be graceful. I don't care if Hugo does come at me with a pistol.
No, do it this way. Clasp your hands so and stagger across the room crying frantically, Roderigo, save me! Save me!
No.
Oh, it's no use. Just do the best you can when the time comes, and if the audience laughs, don't blame me. Now, come on, Meg.
Dear Countess, pray for me, for I have sinned against myself and my brother Roderigo.
You've got to say sinned as if you really sinned. Now, Roderigo, you arrive seeking the Duke of Lancashire.
Hark ye, who goes there?
I forgot the symbols.
Oh, it's Roderigo!
I want to be Lady Violet. I'm exhausted of being the boy.
The play's the thing, Amy. You're too little to be Lady Violet.
You could be the Countess de Montenescu.
You've no lines. Besides, who'd be Roderigo?
Gentlemen, I propose a new member for our theatrical society. Theodore Lawrence.
He would find us improper.
He would think it's only a
Oh,
game.
he won't, I promise.
We'd have to guard our conduct. We bare our souls and tell secrets.
He'll laugh at us.
No, Teddy would certainly not. Please. Let's try him, shall we?
Oh, Joe, you traitor!
Artists, may I present myself as an actor and a musician and a loyal and humble servant of the club. In token of my gratitude and to promote communication, I shall provide a post office in our hedge to further encourage the baring of our souls and the telling of our secrets. I do pledge faithfully never to reveal what I hear in confidence here.
Well, then.
Do take your place, Roderigo?
Sir Roderigo.
Oh, I don't have to be the boy!
1864 seemed to last but a moment with the friendship of the Lawrences to pass the time. But as we came to the end of the year 1865, the winter crept on, and each of us found our daily tasks and responsibilities to be more and more trying, especially little Amy.
I don't want to.
Bless these wretched skirts!
Don't say blast and wretch.
Amy, don't be such a ninny-pinny.
I wish I was Beth so I could stay
If
home.
you like laundry and housework...
Amy, hurry or I'll be late for work.
Meg, must I go to school? I'm so degraded. I have at least a dozen pickled limes.
Pickled limes, are they the fashion now?
It's nothing but limes. Everyone keeps in their desks and trades them for beads or pencils or something else at recess. If you don't bring limes, you're nothing. They treat by turns, and I've had ever so many, and I haven't returned them. And they are debts of honor, you know, and I can't pay anyone back.
No wonder you don't learn anything.
I know how it feels to do without luxuries, and we are not destitute yet. Here's a quarter. Marmee gave me the rag money this month.
Thank you, Meg.
What is it, father?
Teacher struck me. He put the limes out into the snow. Maychester said my limes were for the homeless, so I said said she wouldn't get any from me. She told Mr. Davis they were in my desk, and he struck me.
Oh, I'll beat the tar out of him.
Joe, we must not embrace violence. Now, I shall write him a letter.
That'll show him.
You didn't say they were forbidden. A month's rag money. I should have never given it to you.
I'm sorry. All those lovely lines. I'm perfectly desolated.
It's a frivolous thing to worry over, and you're more concerned with your nose than your character, and it's about time that you set about correcting that. Amy, dear, you have a good many gifts and talents, and there's no need of parading them, for conceit spoils the finest genius. There's not much danger that real talent or real goodness will be overlooked for long. Now, can you discipline yourself to learn at home as Beth has done?
Yes, Mother.
And that is how Amy came to be home 1 week later, as Meg and I were preparing to go out.
Where are you going?
Never mind, little girls shouldn't ask questions.
Meg, do tell me. I should think you'd let me go too, for Beth is fussing over her piano, and I haven't anything to do. I'm so lonely.
I can't, dear, because you aren't
Now,
invited.
Meg, be quiet or you will spoil it all. You can't go, Amy, so don't be a baby and whine about it.
You're going somewhere with Laurie. I know you are. You were whispering and laughing together on the sofa last night, and you stopped when I came in. Are you going with him?
Yes, we are. Now do be still and stop bothering.
I know. You're going to the Coliseum play.
Just listen to me for a minute and be a good child. Mother doesn't wish you to come because you're still on the mend from your cold. Next week, you can go with Beth and Hannah and have a nice time.
I don't like that half as well as going with you and Laurie. Please let me. I've been sick with this cold for so long, and I'm dying for some fun. Do, Meg? I'll be ever so good.
Suppose we do take her. I don't believe Mother would mind if we bundle her up well.
Now, if she goes, I shan't. And if I don't go, Laurie won't like it. And it will be very rude. He invited us, not Amy. And I should think she'd hate to poke her nose where she isn't wanted.
I shall go. Meg says I may. Laurie hasn't anything to do with it.
No, you can't sit with us. Our seats are reserved, and you mustn't sit alone. I will not have you ruining our fun, so you can just stay right where you are.
It's all right, Amy. You will go next week.
No, Laurie's here.
Bye, Amy.
You'll be sorry for this, Joe March. Just see if you ain't.
Oh, I don't want to wait until next week, Joe. Tell me everything.
Just a moment, Beth. My manuscript is missing. Did you move it?
No.
Oh. Has anyone taken my book? No, dear. Amy, you've got it.
No, I haven't.
You know where it is then.
No, I don't.
That's a fib. You know something about it, and you'd better tell me at once, or I'll make
Now
you.
scold me as much as you like. You'll never see your silly old manuscript again.
Why not?
Because I burned it.
Amy! What? My book that I worked over and meant to finish before Father got home? Have you really burned it?
Yes, I did. I told you I'd make you pay for being so cross and leave me out, and I have.
Wicked girl! I can never write it again!
Amy, do you know what you've done?
I'll forgive you for as long as I live!
Joe put her whole heart into that manuscript, dear.
Oh, Amy, how could you?
Joe, darling, it is a great loss, and you have every right to be put out, but I beg you, please don't let the sun go down on your anger. Forgive each other. Help each other, and begin again tomorrow.
It was an abominable thing. She doesn't deserve to be forgiven.
Please forgive me, Joe. I'm so very sorry.
With that, I marched off to bed, and there was no merry or confidential gossip that night. The next day, Amy was much offended that her overtures of peace had been repulsed. My foul mood seemed to spread through the house, causing everything to go wrong. Everything felt so hateful. So I asked Laurie to go skating. Always so kind and jolly, I knew he would put me to right. Amy, hearing the clash of skates, thought that she might catch me in a better mood while out with Laurie, so she grabbed her skates and ran after us.
I'll go on the first bend and see if it's all right.
I'll be right behind you.
Joe, wait for me!
Should be fine. Let's go.
Wait!
After saving Amy from the frigid water and carrying her in his arms back to the house, running all the way, Teddy officially became a member of the March family, as well as my personal hero. Later, in a passion of penitent tears, I sat beside Amy as she slept, bitterly condemning my hard heart and sobbing out of gratitude for her being spared. I let the sun go down on my anger. I wanted to forgive her, and today it might have been too late. Oh, how can I be so wicked? As if hearing my thoughts, Amy opened her eyes, held out her arms, and with a smile that went straight to my heart, hugged me close. Everything was forgiven and forgotten in one loving embrace. In the spring, we prepared for Meg to go to Sally Moffat's coming out. Despite Meg's age, she hadn't been formally introduced to society and potential suitors, which was a cause of great concern to Meg and Aunt March.
I shake my head at how you're managing Margaret. How is she to be married without a proper coming out?
Well, she has a good many...
Things will not change with your husband's return. My nephew is as foolish with money as he is with his new philosophy.
Now, Aunt March...
The one hope for your family is for Margaret to marry well, though I don't know who marries governesses.
Despite Aunt March's hopes for Meg, it was clear to Marmee that something seemed to weigh heavy upon Meg's spirits, and on her return home, when the younger girls were gone to bed, she decided it was time to tell us all.
Marmee, I want to confess.
Ah, I thought so. Now, what is it, dear?
Shall I go away?
Of course not. Don't I always tell you everything? I was ashamed to speak it before the children, but I want you to know all of the dreadful things I did at the Moffats.
We are prepared.
I told you how they dressed me up, but I didn't tell you that they powdered and squeezed and frizzled and made me up like a fashion plate. Oh, one of the men called me a doll. Oh, I knew it was quite silly, but they flattered me, and I rather liked it. Oh, and I drank champagne and romped and tried to flirt and was altogether abominable. It is nice to be praised and admired, Marmee.
That is all perfectly natural and quite harmless, as long as the liking does not become a passion and lead one to do foolish and unmaidenly things. Now, you must learn to know and value the praise that is worth having.
Mother, I overheard Mrs. Moffat say that you have made plans for us, and that you were playing your cards well with the Lawrences. What does that mean? Do you have plans, as Mrs. Moffat said?
Yes, my dear, I have a great many, and all mothers do, but mine differ somewhat from Mrs. Moffat's, I suspect. Now, you are young, Meg, but not too young to understand me, and Joe, your time shall come, so I ask both of you to listen to me and help carry out my plans if you agree. I want my daughters to have a happy youth, to be well and wisely married, and to lead useful, pleasant lives with as little care and sorrow as God sees fit to send them. Now, my dear girls, I am ambitious for you, but not to have you marry rich with splendid houses that aren't homes because love is wanting. No, I would much rather see you poor men's wives, so long as you were happy, than queens on thrones, without self-respect and peace. Do you understand me?
Yes, Mom.
I do.
How I love you, my little women.
Many things happened in those fast fleeting weeks and months, and now in retrospect I see them far clearly than when they were actually happening. But then all we could see was our parts, Meg began to spend more time with Mr. Brooke, I with my writing, Beth and her piano, and little Amy with her schooling. But one event struck us all like a bolt of lightning, a telegram from the War Department.
Well, so your father's in the hospital, eh?
Yes.
Wounded.
Mommy's packing now, Aunt March, and she sent me to ask for your help. She needs $25 for the ticket.
Oh, she does, Miss
Yes.
Joe. I begged your father not to go in the first place, but nobody listens to me.
Aunt March, what's the use of all that now? The train leaves in 2 hours.
Always interrupting me. But you'll listen this time because
No! I won't. I only came here because Mommy says she's not too proud to beg for Father. Well, I am. I'm too proud to beg for anyone. I'd rather sweep the streets than ever come to you again.
Stubborn, obstinate, rude. Josephine, come back here. Come back.
Mr. Lawrence just informed me of the situation at hand.
Yes, Mommy is leaving in just a few hours. She's refused Mr. Lawrence's request to accompany her, and Joe is nowhere to be found.
I'm very sorry to hear of this, Miss March. I've come to offer myself as escort to your mother. Mr. Lawrence has commissions for me in Washington, and it would give me great satisfaction to be of service to her there.
How kind you all are. Mother will accept, I'm sure, and it will be such a relief to me to know that she has someone to watch after her. Thank you so much.
I have an envelope here from your Aunt March.
Oh, good. Oh, it's the money, along with the usual admonishments.
Where is Joe?
We've been looking for her all afternoon.
Here, that's my contribution toward making Father comfortable and bringing him home.
$25? Where did you get it, Joe?
It's mine. Honestly, I didn't beg, borrow, or steal it. I earned it, and I don't think you'll blame me for it. For I only sold what was my own.
Oh, Joe, you cut your hair!
Dear
Your
Joe.
beautiful hair!
Oh, Joe, you're one true beauty.
Well, it doesn't affect the fate of the nation, so don't start wailing.
Your hair will grow back, Joe, and it will be just as lovely as ever, but you will never be more beautiful than you are right now.
Laurie? Your train!
I'll be glad to drive you to the station, Mrs. March.
Oh, thank you, Laurie. Now, goodbye, my darlings. God bless us and keep us all.
Never was our house as empty as now. Father wounded in a hospital, how badly we didn't even know. And now Marmee had left us too. And then came the worst disaster of all.
Come on in, Beth. Lunch is all ready. How are the Hummels, dear? Did you help them like Marmee said?
Don't come near me.
Beth? What is it?
The baby. The Hummels baby. The baby's dead, Joe. The baby's dead.
Oh, no.
I tried to warm her feet, but she was so cold and lay so still that I knew she was dead. And then the doctor came, and he said it was scarlet fever.
Oh, Beth.
Look at her. Look at her face.
Here, Beth, let me help you.
No, keep away. Don't come near me. I feel funny.
I'll put her to bed. Joe, call for Dr. Barnes.
Those were the darkest days of our lives. Beth was much sicker, but Hannah and the doctor suspected. Meg stayed home lest she infect her little wards. I devoted myself to Beth day and night. And Amy was sent to live with Aunt March, for she was the only one who hadn't yet had scarlet fever. Hannah insisted that we keep Beth's illness from Mother, for she already had so many cares with Father, but as Beth's health continued to decline, I decided it was time to take action. Oh, Teddy, I couldn't keep it in any longer. I've just
Joe.
sent for Mother. Oh, she doesn't speak to us. She doesn't know us. Oh, she doesn't even look like my Beth, and there's no one to help me bear it. Mother and Father are gone. And God seems so far away that I can't find him.
I'm here, Joe. Hold on to me.
Thank you, Teddy. I will try harder to bear it if it comes.
She's so good, and we all love her so much. I don't believe God will take her away yet. I don't think she'll die.
The good and dear people always die.
No! Keep hoping for the best, Joe. Soon. Sooner than you think. Your mother will be here. And
What do you mean?
I telegraphed to your mother yesterday. She'll be here in the morning and everything will be all right.
Our prayers were answered, and our little sister Beth was spared. Marmee was home, and after 2 more long years, the glorious day when Papa came back to us too, thin and worn and weak, but home again. Well, Meg, I guess the March family is all together once again. Oh, I call that splendid, I do, really. If only you didn't.
If I didn't what?
Meg, are you expecting that man to call again?
Man? Well, if you mean John Brooke.
I hope you don't think you're in love with him, because I can tell you that you're not.
I'm not.
Nope. You see, Meg, I'm a writer, and so I know. You have none of the symptoms. Your appetite's fine, you sleep like a log, and you don't mope in corners. Therefore, you're not in love. Therefore, do not go and marry that man.
I don't intend to marry any man.
You don't? Hurrah for you! Oh, you're an ace. Oh, but what will you say to him when he comes begging for your hand?
Well, I shall say, thank you, Mr. Brooke, quite calmly and decidedly. Thank you, Mr. Brooke. Let us be good friends and nothing more.
Good. Hand him the mitten, Meg, and then maybe things around here will be the way they were. Oh, no, what?
Joe, he's here. Look, the veranda.
You're in luck. You can tell him off right now. Oh, if only I could see his face when you do it.
I will need to speak with him privately, Joe. I cannot have you
not much
embarrassing
chance
me.
of that happening. Aunt March is coming up the drive.
Oh, no.
What are you doing? Here to propose, are you? Well, you stay right where you are.
Please, Aunt March,
Let me tell you, miss, except that Rook, Crook, or Brook, or whatever his name is, and not 1 penny of my money goes to you.
I shall marry whom I please, Aunt March. And I don't care anything about your money.
It is your duty, Miss Independence, to marry a rich man and help your family. You may be perfectly sure that that fortune chaser knows that you have a rich aunt, and that is why he wants to marry you.
How dare you? Why, my John would no more marry for money than I would. I'm not afraid of being poor. I've been happy so far, and I know I shall be with him because he loves me.
Well, I wash my hands of the whole affair. You've lost more than you know with this piece of folly. You marry this man, and you can expect nothing from me. I've done with you forever. No, you made me forget why I came here in the first place.
Meg, I couldn't help but overhear.
Oh, John.
Thank you for defending me, Meg. For proving that you do care.
I didn't know how much until she said those dreadful things.
My dearest Meg.
My dear John.
Marmee! smelling dreadfully, and Meg likes it!
Oh, Joe!
Much to my exasperation, the March family spent the following 3 months preparing for Meg and Mr. John's wedding. John worked diligently to have a house for the two of them, and the March women worked at making it a home. The wedding day was everything our lovely Meg deserved, full of love and life. But still, I found myself wondering.
Joe! Oh, Joe. Don't feel too badly, Joe. She's still your sister. And there isn't a finer man in the world than John Brooke.
She married him after all of her promises.
Well, you've still got me, Joe. I know I'm not good for much, but I would stand beside you all the days of my life.
You don't know what a comfort you are to me, Laurie.
Joe, will you please listen to what I want to tell you?
No, Laurie, don't say it.
Oh, but I will. And you must hear me. It's no use, Joe.
No, Teddy, please don't, please.
I've loved you ever since I've known you. I couldn't help it. I've tried to show you, but you wouldn't let me. And now I'm going to make you give me an answer because I can't go on any longer.
I wanted to save you from this. I thought you would understand.
And I only loved you more for it. I know I'm not good enough for you, Joe, but if you love me, you can make me anything you like.
Laurie, I wouldn't change you. You should marry a lovely girl who adores you. Someone who will give you the sort of life you really want. I wouldn't. And you'll get over this. After a while, you'll find some lovely, accomplished girl who will suit you. I'm homely and awkward and odd, and we'd quarrel, Laurie.
No, we wouldn't.
We always have, you know, and your temper is atrocious.
But only when provoked.
You can't even propose without arguing. Everything would be horrid.
Oh, it would be heaven. Joe, why can't you love me?
I'm so sorry, Laurie. I'm so desperately sorry. But I can't say I love you when I don't.
Really and truly, Joe?
Really and truly, Laurie. Well, no, I'll never marry.
Oh, yes, you will. You'll meet some good-for-nothing fool, and you'll work, and you'll live, and you'll die for him. I know you will because it's just your way. And I'm to stand by and see this all happen? Well, I'll be hanged if I will.
Months went by and Teddy refused to speak to me. And then, throughout March, I heard of a position in New York, a good family in need of a governess. Oh, I've always wanted to go to New York, Marmee. Why, they have the finest libraries and theaters there, and in my spare time I can write.
Well, let me speak it over with Father, my darling.
I've already asked him, and he says that it's up to you.
Well, it might be good for you at that, Joe.
Oh, it would! And I won't stay forever. A year, maybe, and when I come back, everything will be just the same as it used to be. So, in 1868, I left Concord. Over the course of that year, I wrote home regularly, always an inquiry about Laurie, and, after a while, always a passing mention of a tutor in the household, a professor named Friedrich Baer.
Oh, Miss March.
Oh, please don't stop, Professor Baer. It's so beautiful.
Thank you very much.
What is that song? I've heard you play it before.
It's called Nur wer diesen Suchtgen. Do you understand German, Miss March?
No, I don't.
The words are by a famous writer. Good. I will try to say them in English for you. Let's see now. Only who knows what longing can know what I suffer. Alone and parted, far from enjoying gladness, my senses fail. A burning fire devours me.
Oh, if only I could write something like that, something that would set other hearts on fire.
You truly like to write, do you not?
Oh, it's my life, Professor Bear.
Sometime you will show me what you have written.
Oh, yes. Yes, and I've just told another story. It's in the Weekly Volcano. Oh, it's a wonderful one about, well, if you'd really like to read it.
The Weekly Volcano?
Yes, it's a magazine, and it's the best story I've ever done.
How happy you look, Miss March. I'm so glad for you.
I am happy.
And you have not missed your home so much lately? Or your old friends?
No, I haven't. And you are most responsible for that.
Thank you, my dear friend.
Showing me this wonderful, exciting city and the museums and theaters.
I will tell you something, Miss March. There is no greater pleasure than to hear or see something beautiful with someone who is truly beautiful themselves.
Oh. Well, I must be getting back to the children. I'll bring my stories to you later. Thank you. A few weeks later, while reading a distressing letter from home. Come in.
Miss March, I have read all your stories. Thank you for lending them to me.
Well, Professor Bear?
I do not like to think that good women should think of such things. They are made pleasant to some, but I would more rather give children gunpowder to play with than this.
All of it may not be bad, only silly, you know, and if there is a demand for it, well, I don't see any harm in supplying it. Many very respectable people make an honest living out of what are called sensational stories.
There is a demand for whiskey, but I think you and I do not care to sell it. If the respectable people knew what harm they did, they would not feel that the living was honest. No, they should think a little and sweep mud in the street before they do a thing like that again. Why do you write such artificial characters, such contrived plots? Villains, murderers, fainting women. Do you know that? Miss March? I have hurt you. Oh, I'm so sorry.
No. No, it just seems that, well, everything happens at once.
Everything?
I've had a letter from my family. Meg is expecting. My little sister Beth is quite ill. And my trip to Europe will never be, for Aunt March much prefers the company of my younger sister Amy. And Laurie.
Laurie? Oh, yes. Your friend.
Yes, he was in New York, and he didn't even try to see me.
What a fool he must be! And I chose this moment to criticize your writing.
No. No, I always knew my stories weren't very good, but, well, you see, they help at home to pay the bills.
Yes, that is what I thought. And I said to myself, maybe I have no right to speak to her, for she does have talent.
Have I really?
Great talent, my dear friend. And I say to you, sweep first the mud in the street before you are false to that talent. Say to yourself, I will never write a single line which I have not first felt in my own heart. Say to yourself, while I'm young, I will write the simple, beautiful things I know and understand. Will you do that, Josephine?
I'll try.
I have a friend. He's a publisher. When you are ready for it, I will see that he reads what you read.
Oh, thank you. Well, I'm going back to Concord soon. I'm going home.
Going home?
It's where I belong.
Then I will not see you again? Yes. Go back to your home and write your stories. And maybe someday I will see you there in your home.
When I arrived home that next spring, I was taken aback by the change in Beth. No one spoke of it, but it was very plain. Oh, our Beth, our little Beth.
Don't cry, Joe. I don't want you to cry for me.
Oh, I'm not crying for you, darling. I'm just lonesome for Amy and Meg and our happy old times. No, I'll be all right.
It's no use, Joe. I know what the doctor must have said. Please don't tell Father or Mommy, but I know. Joe, you mustn't be afraid. Doesn't it sound funny? Me saying that to you when you've always said it to me. Oh, you've always reminded me of a seagull, Joe. Strong and wild, fond of the wind and storm, dreaming of flying out to sea. And Mommy always said I was the cricket on the hunt, content to stay at home. I can't express it very well. I guess I shouldn't even try, except to my Joe. It seems that I was never intended to live very long. Never planned what I would do when I grew up, like the rest of you did, because I could never bear the thought of leaving home. But I'm not afraid anymore, Joe. I've learned that I will never lose you, that nothing can truly part us, though it seems to, and that we'll always be a family, even though one of us is gone. But Joe, I think I will be homesick for you, even in heaven.
I've written something just for you. Would you like to read it?
Oh, yes, very much. Sitting patient in the shadow till the blessed light shall come, a serene and saintly presence sanctifies our troubled home. Oh, my sister, passing from me, out of human care and strife, leave me as a gift those virtues which have beautified your life. Give me, for I need it sorely, of that courage wise and sweet, which has made thy path of duty green beneath your willing feet. Hope and faith, born of my sorrow, guardian angel shall become, and the sister gone before me, by her hand shall lead me home.
Just like that, my most treasured thing was gone. When the first bitterness was over and the morning came, for the first time in our lives, our home felt empty. barren, yet still. But a bird sang lightly on a budding bough, and the spring sunshine streamed in like a benediction over the placid face upon the pillow. A face so full of painless peace that those who loved it best smiled through their tears and thanked God that Beth was well at last. We received regular word from Amy, who was now a young woman flourishing during her education in Europe, and as it happens, was doing her best to rehabilitate Laurie after his adventures abroad. He had been growing more and more discontented with his desultory life. Upon further encouragement from Amy, Laurie took matters into his own hands and went back to the Lawrence family business. I was hesitant to do so, but I wrote Laurie of Beth's passing, asking him to appeal to Amy that she might come home, for it was too much to bear that our family was not together at such a trying time. As for those of us at home, we knew Beth would not want us to wallow, so we did our very best to press on in her memory.
What do you have there, Joe?
It's all finished, Meg, my novel. I'm on the way to the post office now.
Oh, Joe, that's wonderful. Can I read it?
When it comes back.
Maybe it won't come back. Maybe they'll publish it.
Oh, I'm not sending it to a publisher. It's going to Professor Bear.
Oh, you write to him often, don't you?
Yes, I do. And he knows what I'm writing about. I mean, he understands me, Meg.
Well, I think it's splendid. Oh, we had a letter, Joe, from Laurie.
Oh?
Joe, how would you feel if you heard that Laurie was learning to care for someone else?
Amy?
Yes. They're all in Paris now.
Then I wouldn't mind at all. Meg, how could I?
Well, it's just that you seem so alone, Joe, and I thought that if Laurie came back and
No. Amy and Laurie. No, I'm truly glad, Meg. Truly glad. Then, in June of 1869, Amy and Laurie were back in Concord as husband and wife.
Joe, dear, I want to say one thing, and then we'll put it by forever. I shall never stop loving you, but the love is altered, and it's better as it is. Amy and you changed places in my heart, that's all. It was meant to be so, and I would have seen it sooner if I had waited as you tried to make me.
But you never could be patient.
And you were right. I love you both dearly, and always will. So do you believe me? And can we go back to the happy old times when we first knew one another?
I believe it with all my heart, Teddy. But we can never be boy and girl again. The happy old times can't come back, and we mustn't expect them. I shall miss my boy, but I will love the man as much and admire him more. Well, we are now brother and sister to help each other all our lives, won't we, Laurie?
Yes, my Joe, for all our lives.
I beg your pardon. Is Miss March in? Miss Josephine March?
Why, yes. Won't you come in?
Oh, but there are guests?
Oh, yes. It is a wedding party for Mr. Laurie and Miss March.
Oh, I see. I will go. If you will just give her this, please.
Why, yes. Yes, of course.
Thank you.
This is for you, Joe.
Thank you, Hannah.
Well, open it up, Joe. Don't just look at it.
Why, it's a book.
Little Women by Josephine March. Joe, it's your book. It's been published.
Well, why didn't you tell
Published
us?
a Hannah, who left it? Well, a man with some sort of an accent.
A German accent?
Yes, I invited him in, but after I told him it was a wedding party for Mr. Lorry and Miss March,
Oh,
he left.
Hannah, you didn't! Oh, no, he couldn't. No, come back. It's pouring outside. Professor Bear!
Miss March? Josephine?
Where are you going?
Back to the railway station. I came to bring you your book. My friend published it, you see. He has great hopes. He thinks...
Oh, never mind what he thinks. Do you like it?
It has such truth, such simple beauty. But I cannot tell you what is deep in my heart.
You were going away. Well, I might never have seen you again. Oh, please come back.
I couldn't intrude. You have guests. And congratulations on your recent nuptials.
No, that's my sister Amy. Yes, she's married to that man that I told you about.
Lori?
Yes.
Oh,
And it's the first time we've all been together in such a long time. Will you please come back?
oh, please. Please, just one moment before...
Yes?
I have a wish. Asks. Would you... I have not the courage to think that, but if I could hope that... I know, I shouldn't have asked. I have nothing to give you but my heart, which is full, and these hands, which are empty.
Take my hand in yours.
Josephine, my darling.
There. Not empty now.
We hope you've enjoyed this special radio broadcast of Little Women. As you go forth in your daily lives, please let this moving story of the March family be a reminder to you that rich and poor cannot be defined by money alone, that the bonds of family are not only found through blood, and that a house is not a home unless love is found within. Thank you, and good night.